Killed me.
Welcome to the Nerdtastic in 3D podcast.
It's Nerdtastic in 3D. Oh, it's Nerdtastic in 3D. Yes, it's Nerdtastic in 3D. It's Nerdtastic in 3D.
Can we level us out?
Hello.
I had everything good until Jason started to fuck with levels here.
Bong.
Bang!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 73. My name is Jason Carter.
I am Josh Sweat.
John Pennell.
Liz Heron.
Oh, hey, I'm Sean.
Jason
Kearney.
Thomas Pecco.
And we are almost completely back. Almost. Meaning we're only one man down this evening. Jack Eckler can't be here, but
He's here virtually.
yeah, he has a virtual presence. And I wanted to start the show off by asking you guys a question. What is a pirate's favorite letter? Liz?
It's
Is it R?
Nay, you think it'd be R, but a pirate's first love always be the sea.
You son of a bitch.
Do pirates really say nay?
Nay.
they say
Jason would know.
That
'cause
feels
he's
right.
Like,
I and nay.
what are, are
The
you a
nays
pirate
have it.
file?
The
Is that what they're
A
called?
pirate file?
Period
Yeah.
to file.
Like a pirate
I am.
A pirate.
This
Pirate
bracelet right here
file?
that I'm wearing used to say I heart pirates.
What happened to
No
it?
joke. It rubbed off.
What do you mean it rubbed off?
Rubbed off on you.
Aren't they imprinted?
That's what I thought too.
What kind of cheap bracelet is that? Where'd you get that
Where did you get
You should
that?
make
It
a
was loosely
bracelet
painted
against,
with nail
You
polish.
should make a bracelet that's against rubbed off bracelets. Let's move for that movement.
I'm in that movement.
So, Nerdtastic in 3D. We're an industry, entertainment industry podcast. We all work in the entertainment industry.
You want to try that again?
I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty content.
Fair
I
enough.
have some notes.
And that was an entertainment industry joke.
Yeah.
Was
I
it?
don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think bankers get notes. Well, they get notes, but different kind of notes. Get it?
Yeah.
IOUs.
Like the
Moving
government
right
is getting
along.
right now?
Oh,
Government workers?
you want to talk about that? Go for it.
Government
The government
shutdown?
shut down?
All right, next. Next topic.
Anarchy in the UK, baby.
That doesn't seem.
I mean the USA.
UK.
Somewhere. Where,
Hey.
Where are we?
Anarchy is in us.
Yes. Around us.
If you're joining us online, welcome. If you're joining us later on iTunes and or our website and or any other means of joining us later, welcome.
How many people do we have with us right now?
At the moment,
1.
7.
2?
us, and then
7?
looks like we got, if you don't count Liz, who's also logged on,
So I can see.
like a bunch.
Like some kind of feedback.
Like a bunch. Just Liz. No.
It's just me. I've got all my bases covered.
Jack would like us to know he's here in spirit. So, I think, I don't know, what do you guys got? What happened that's newsworthy this week?
Fucking government shutdown.
hi.
Bullshit.
We can talk about it.
It's bullshit.
Should we talk about the one thing? We usually don't get too political on the
Bullshit
show,
is the
but
people that shut the government down are still
Exactly.
getting paid today. That's what
Garbage.
Yeah, that's
Garbage.
bullshit.
I think we talked about this briefly at lunch, but I'll just recap. I think the brilliant part of what's going on right now is that the president's PR team has done a fantastic job making sure that the American public and everyone in the world knows that this is the direct result of like 20 people's ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in previous budget warfares and tension, it's been really mixed as to who's to blame. And I think if you ask any American right now, they'll tell you, F the Tea Party.
But, okay.
I love tea, though.
Do you really think there's a
Jobs.
big part of the U.S. that actually, A, knows that the government is shut down, and B, even knows why?
Do they know why?
Are you saying does it affect them in their
No, I'm
daily
just saying the
lives?
fact that
Yeah.
how much do you think that there's people that like
That's a
don't
good
even
question.
care, like don't even look at the news and stuff like that, and just watch their Dancing with the Stars and whatever, and
Some of the stars can't be on it because they work for the government.
It's
Possibly.
true.
That's not
Yeah.
true.
All of them.
None of them do.
How do you know, Jay?
They're all celebrities.
But how many people do you think, like percentage wise of the U.S.? I don't have a statistic to answer you, by the way, but just curiosity. What do you think the percentage of A, Americans that actually do know that the government is shut down, and then B, know how many, like why they're actually
The
shut
percentage of that Americans that do know is 68.167%, and do
have
they?
that somewhere?
Yeah, it's right here online. And the,
No, it's not.
Oh, we're all the information.
Why not show the cameras if we have all this
Yeah,
information?
why
No,
don't
you know
put
what's
that up on
shitty?
the board?
You know what's shitty is, and this isn't like something that affects everybody, but a dude that Kearney and I used to work with, he was getting married this weekend at Paramount Ranch, and that's in a state park, and that's shut down.
Oh,
So,
sucks.
yeah.
Wait,
So his
what?
wedding is
Who do we know that's getting married?
Sean Coughlin, do you remember him?
Oh, yeah, he's getting married?
this
Yeah,
weekend.
it's good.
Well, he was getting married this weekend.
apparently you knew him a little bit better than Sean did.
I hardly knew the guy.
But it's just like things like that, like even if it affects that one person or that group of people,
Jack, I got you.
it doesn't affect the people who are causing this, and that's the garbage.
I thought the thing that got me the most was there was a thing, I guess it was CNN, they were talking to two members of the House. Like, one was a Democrat, one was a Republican. And they were talking to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a close friend of President Obama's. And she brought up a good point about Obamacare, where she was like, you know what, the president got reelected, and the American people spoke that they wanted him. And I was like, you make a good point. But then the Republican made a very good point, too. I forget who it was, but he went, well, yeah, but they also reelected all of us, too. And it made me think that when push comes to shove, after all this stuff happened, we knew that we were headed, like this has been happening with every debt negotiation, everything since Obama took office and the Republicans won the House, and we had a perfect chance in 2012 to like go, let's boot one side out or both sides out or anything, and we went, no, let's keep it exactly the way it is. And then the government shuts down and we're like, well, really, it's this guy's fault. It's like, no, we totally didn't give a shit, and next year we're gonna forget all about this and we're gonna reelect all the fucking people that put us in this position yet again. And it's just kind of like, I will say, the Obamacare thing is ridiculous, but I have to say, as somebody who voted for Obama twice, like, where the fuck were you when it was time to keep the government open? Now he's all over TV and he's inviting people over and he's playing the hero. But it's like, where were you, dude? Like, it takes two to negotiate. And he was out playing golf last Sunday.
But what are you negotiating
Yeah.
about? The laws. It's a law. It's been passed.
I don't know.
If their entire thing is just defund
I
Obamacare.
will say that I've become more and more frustrated with Obama.
It's just the
as
government
time's
in
gone
general.
on.
The government's
with
bullshit.
everybody, and I think the biggest problem I've had is this idea. Like he has this very much like what's the thing? What was he doing? Where he was organizing people. This very like organizational sort of approach of like community organizer approach of like it's all about the people, and if you want gun control, you need to go out there and ask for it. And I want to be like, that works when you're a community organizer, but you're the president now, so no, I'm not going to. That's your job. You need to like get some shit done. But push comes to shove, yesterday there was a nice little email or a nice little tweet that went out that was like, today Republicans shut down the government and the Democrats had health care for everyone. And I was like, true, but also true. You did that shit 2.5 years ago, and nobody's passed any fucking meaningful legislation anywhere in the last 2.5 years. So I will say that I'm quite disgusted with everybody. And if the election was in 2012, I would not have voted for Romney, but I would have voted to actually what I will do in
Green
2014. Everyone who's an incumbent, I think, just needs to lose their jobs. I think we need to get rid of all of them, even the people that we love. Just everybody just needs to lose their jobs, and we need to start. We need to see it force quit. Force restart. Let's just do it.
Just hold the power button down
I
for
agree.
Hold the power button down
for 10
Force
seconds,
quit.
and then it's done.
Because I'm just
Flush
so
the toilet.
disappointed.
Flush the
Reboot
toilet.
government.
I'm done with everybody.
Flush the toilet.
Yeah. Flush the toilet.
So
I think you should campaign that. You might make a lot of money on your campaign.
I'm voting
trail.
for you, Sean.
hey,
You got my vote.
Thank you.
I'll be your campaign.
Bipartisan rage. That's what I bring.
I support
hate
that.
Didn't they do this? What
Yeah.
movie was the none of the above thing? What movie was that from?
The shit. I know what you're talking about,
Oh.
but I can't name it.
Okay.
So now you don't get my vote, or I don't get your vote.
all judgments aside, I'm genuinely curious. You don't have to say which one if you're not comfortable, but when it comes time to vote, do you vote along a party lines or do you vote individually based on bills and people and what you think? Josh?
Normally it's a party line, but it's also, I think we've talked about this too, the fact that California is such a heavily Democratic state, no Republican really wins. I mean, up in the State Department, Arnold Schwarzenegger won because he was a Republican who acted like a Democrat. and everybody was just like, "Yay!"
And there was the recall election.
The recall election.
Total
The
recall
atmosphere,
election.
the total recall election. Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's a
atmosphere.
great man. I hope they use that in like a
Recall.
newspaper or all of them when it happened.
But I mean, like I
thought
see
it out
different
myself.
sides of both parties where I can understand them, and there's even things where it's just like, Republican Party. Like, there's a couple things where I'm like, yeah, that makes more sense, than what the Democratic
Like the whole
Party
killing
is.
all the babies thing, right?
Oh, totally.
I mean, I disagree with them on gay marriage, but I totally support killing all babies. Just slitting their throats in front of people. I like that. I'm sorry.
It's
So
a
Sumi.
interesting stance.
But yes, that's me.
I wish I had followed that up with
Hump day.
We were all thinking.
Fennel.
I kind of ride the lines. I think it
Party
depends-
line?
Yeah, it depends on the ballot.
okay.
On the local level, it's more individual. But then I feel like as it gets on the more national stage, like the other people become just so entrenched in whatever the ideology is of the party that I wind up voting party line, because I feel like a Republican running for president has kind of made deals that I would not be comfortable with. But I voted like Republican for like mayor and city council and things like that.
To further my frustration, I've been a registered Democrat, I think, almost as long as I've been able to vote. I think there was like a year in college where I was a registered member of the Green Party and was like, no.
I think I did liberal my first
for up.
my first year.
I didn't
was 18.
know. But I am probably going to re-register independent. And I was registered as a Democrat for the longest time because I wanted to vote in the primaries, because I liked Obama a lot more than I liked Hillary Clinton and things like that. But I'm so disappointed. And maybe this is just me like growing up and realizing that they're all full of shit. But like I totally like believed the hype on Obama. It was like, yeah, like this is amazing. I finally like am not just negatively voting for the lesser of two evils. Like I think this guy's got it. And now I'm just like, he's done nothing in the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
Well,
Essentially, he's one person.
True,
right?
but
And-
he's
I
the
get
most
it.
important person in
But
the
there's-
world.
It's a lot
I
of
think
like
that,
coalition.
too. Well, that's what I
stuff.
think
True.
That means nothing though. When you have that many people voting,
Sure.
the president gets outvoted in the House, like with
Sure.
bills and stuff like that.
I think he came in super naive, as anybody does who hasn't been in politics super long, and is like, I'm going to change everything. And then he like runs up against the wall that is bullshit politics. And I echo exactly what you're saying. Like, I consider myself a moderate. I voted for Bush in the first election, then I voted for Obama, and then Obama again. And now I don't even know if I want to vote, because I
Yeah.
think politics is such
You
a
guys
bullshit.
have to
And
remember
unfortunately,
that
I think-
Obama came out of the most corrupt local government
True.
system ever.
True. That's
true.
Chicago.
Like Chicago is fucked.
Represent.
But I feel like a lot of people are, because of the political climate, are becoming disillusioned with politics. And I think that's unfortunate, because you need people who believe in government to be in government. Like, I think the biggest mistake that this country is making is electing people to government office who don't believe in government.
True.
Or who don't want government.
And
right? 'Cause
usually-
it's like you're decaying the system from the inside.
Totally. And usually it's the second term is when you get these more crazy things that either kind of make you or break you. Because your first term, you're trying to just like make everybody happy. And by the time your second term is, obviously it's just like, oh, what are you going to do? Fire me? Like, I'm done in fucking a year or whatever.
And I want to see that. I want to see like the balls out. I think the biggest thing for me, and this is also a super controversial thing, I guess, but it shouldn't be, is the biggest thing for me is the Newtown shooting. Like, and not like, listen, if we don't like, I don't even know what the right answer is. And I work in the video game industry, and I think part of the answer is, yeah, let's evaluate violent video games. I don't think they're the problem, but the fact that literally like a guy walked into a classroom of preschoolers, shot them in cold blood, and like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And like nothing, like literally zero, like we've done nothing. Like we talked about it for a month and then we just gave up. And like that to me was just when I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like
And
if
90%
that
of
doesn't,
the country wanted
like
action taken.
if that doesn't, like even if it was the stupidest thing ever that I completely disagreed with, I'd be like, well, at least we did something. And that's what's like killed me.
Carter?
Well, not literally.
Did you?
I don't. I basically will vote on people that I think will do shit, but most people don't, so it doesn't matter.
I think something that fascinates me is how human beings. I'm sorry, I'm getting serious for a second here, but how human beings grow, how they improve who they are throughout their lives. And one of the things for me personally that has been one of my big areas of growth, and a lot of people do this as well, is truly starting to think away from the way you were raised. And I've taken things from how I was raised and still, take those to heart, still believe in them. Same religion now that I grew up with. Politically, I come from an area, really, really small town, unbelievably Republican. And it's in the middle of California, but it's like, the heart of Republican territory. And it was everywhere you go. You go to church, you go to a supermarket, you go to anything. It was just every person there was just constantly bashing on the Democrats. And you would only hear one side of the story. So now we're in a different age, right? Now information is available instantly. And you're getting everybody has a slanted view, but there's so much information that if you're interested in a subject matter, it's easy to find both sides. Whereas growing up for me, that wasn't something. I was surrounded by one opinion, one party's opinion. So needless to say, I didn't actually go to say this is like, I went from becoming a Republican to becoming a Democrat, but more a big growth thing for me was to think for myself on an individual person basis, an individual law basis. I go all over the board, right? There are some things where I'm like as left as you can possibly go. There's some things where I'm super, super right. There are some things like the condom porn bill that anger me so much I don't vote on them because I'm just angered they're on the ballot. I believe my political view can be heard in many, many different ways, whether not casting a vote or whether casting a vote in a specific direction or not. And I have to say, one thing that I think is just brilliant, and I love this, as a person who, was it you who said I'm thinking about just not voting at all? There's an importance to that. There's an importance because that is an interest that you're losing in the, your government. And I think one of the most amazing things that the state of Nevada does is every single thing that you can vote on, there's always a none of the above in every single thing. Because I would rock that so hard for a lot of different things. No, the candidates we have for school board are not good enough. None of the above. Pick someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens if that wins, but anyways, that's my little political rant. It's totally
That'd be epic if that happened. So it's none of you are good enough. And how
would
would you
any of
feel
you-
as being any one of those candidates? It's
But
shit.
the thing is, though, is for me, it's not even like, are they good enough? I thought Obama was good enough, but I've realized that politics are so fucked up that whatever he wanted to do, he was unable to do, and I don't know why. I don't know enough about politics or the innards of government to do that.
Here's my thing. I'm going to defend Obama a little bit. I think we as a people really bought into this poster child that was Obama and
yes,
everything.
We can.
We the people.
Yeah.
Hope.
Yeah, no, truthfully, we really bought into the marketing campaign that was the first election for him. The Yes We Can, right?
Yeah.
And I think nice. All right, fair
I
enough.
believed exactly what you see now.
I say we
back then.
I say we as a general American public just because he won. But I think you have to look at the career and say absolutely, we bought into some hype and he hit a lot of brick walls along the way. But if you look at Bush's career, his presidency, there's not a lot of highlights that you can pull from that. And it's
the Iraq War.
Yeah, big highlight.
Yeah.
If you look at Obama,
Those were the days.
I think it's
privatizing
hard,
Social Security.
It's hard right now because
Smart
we see
idea.
the politics and the crap that everybody's up against. But if you look at the legacy of what a president leaves behind, you're talking about Obamacare. Now, whether you believe that or not, or believe in it or not, it's big. That is a big thing.
Yeah, that's something nobody could do.
Right.
That's something Clinton couldn't do. That's something
Exactly. That's a huge
Hillary
initiative.
Clinton
Whether
couldn't
you're
do. Yeah.
pro or con, that's a huge initiative that he will be remembered for. I also firmly believe that there has been no president to date, whether you care about this or not, that has been as impactful on the green initiative, environmentally friendly, as Obama has. Been super friendly in getting tax breaks for everything that's green friendly, right? I think that's something he will be remembered for. I don't
And he
think
killed Bin Laden.
that's
Honestly, and there's that.
He also undid a
But let's
lot
not
of the stuff
forget-
that Bush
Yeah,
did.
let's not forget. There is
Anyways,
that stuff.
That's enough of my political rant.
I think that the last thing that I'll say on it is that I've also realized this is the first time I think that since I've been paying attention, I've seen a Republican president and a Democratic president, and so it was really eye-opening to me to see how both sides completely twist like completely turn and just become the other side when one's in power. Even to the fact that somebody posted something pretty funny about where, with everything that was going on with Syria, they were like, where are all the anti-war celebrities that were there with Iraq, that were there with all these other things? And you can draw the comparison. Syria and Iraq were we're relatively close for it looked like they used these weapons, but we don't really know, and we don't know who did it and stuff like but even regardless, there are people that are there's the John Fogertys of the world and the Neil Youngs of the world, who I appreciate their music very much. But they were so like, Bush is the devil, Bush is a war criminal, and then Obama, before he even said he was going to go to Congress, when it looked like he was just going to initiate war without Congress's support, they were just like, yeah, I mean, well, it's our guy. He
must have a good reason.
Yeah, and I feel like I've just watched that from both sides and just been like, oh, yeah, everybody's full of shit. And sometimes they're just full of shit, but they just kind of believe the same things as you.
See, I think being the president, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's really like, when Obama came into, being president, do I think he did anything so far great, especially like his first whole term? No, because there was it was in such like the country was in such a shitty disarray. You had like the worst, unemployment rate. You had, the housing market was basically just taking a dive and shit like that too. So you kind of have to just like, you feed this baby, a pile of shit, and you're just like, oh, here you go, turn it into something, and you're just like, oh, I don't know.
I wouldn't feed a baby a pile of that.
Oh, so you don't believe in the Republican agenda of feeding babies shit and then murdering them? I'm sorry if I can reach across the aisle and kill a fucking baby or two.
Oh my god.
Hey, this has been this has
been 2016.
This has been political in 3D.
I want to be your campaign manager.
Can we move on?
Wait, we just got a text from our friend that said. We just got a text from our friend that said, taking a shit, listening to you guys pretend to know about politics. Kearney just said John Fogerty. I thought this was supposed to be a nerdy podcast.
Point
yes,
taken.
It is.
Point
yes,
taken.
it is.
Sorry, Crinkle.
Valve software, go.
Did you just point at Liz?
Valve?
Wait, did you just point at Liz?
No,
Yes.
I just pointed out there. That was like a this. Liz, Valve
Valve
software.
software.
What do you got?
And hardware.
What's going on?
Liz,
And controllers.
tell us all about Valve
And
software
peripherals.
and what they've done.
So last week they made 3 big announcements, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. What were they?
And what was the one that everybody thought they were going to announce?
And what
that
is
they
your
did
favorite
not?
color?
Quiz Liz. That's what we'll call this section. Quiz Liz. And the whole idea is we pretend like Liz actually read the notes that we're supposed to all read before the podcast.
I don't think I'm on that.
It's Evernote.
The Evernote.
I'm not on the Evernote.
The Evernote.
I don't think I'm on the
What's
Evernote.
this thing called Valve?
Anyone on the internet?
I know. Kind of.
It's really unfortunate that Jack's not here tonight because I think he's like the biggest like person who follows Valve's and Valve and their initiatives into hardware. So we miss you,
Well,
Jack.
it's interesting. I mean, like, everybody's kind of been.
Liz is like Googling it right now. She's like, Valve?
All right, who wants to rescue Liz
How do
right
you
now?
spell it?
Who wants to
So
rescue Liz?
we've talked about this.
Stream it on your TV.
We've
Do you
talked
know what
about this.
Steam is, Liz?
Well, that's
What?
not
Steam?
it.
Stream.
Valve software.
All right. So
Valve
Valve
software.
is a company, Liz,
Yes.
and they make video games.
Yes.
All right.
Counter-Strike.
And they
Portal
make a
2.
service
Counter-Strike,
called
Portal
Steam.
2, Half-Life.
Keep
is
reading
their
it off.
biggest game.
Keep reading it
What
off.
else does
there.
Wikipedia say?
No, it's whatever cycles up.
But
on their
they
website.
have a thing called Steam, and Steam allows
Yeah,
you
you
to
can play it on
download
your
PC
TV.
games, and
On your
they are now allowing you to play it on your TV. That's the new thing. That's the cool thing.
Big picture.
So there's these things called video games, and they're like board games. But you play them on a television. They have animated graphics,
interesting.
sometimes using pixels.
What will they
What's a
think of
pixel?
next?
A pixel is it's a small piece of baby blood. I'm sorry, I just had to keep it going.
And you just have a bunch of those mixed together, and they make a baby picture.
And then there's a Steam controller. And a
Dota
Steam
2.
box.
That says Dota 2.
Well, what was last time? I mean, I haven't been on a podcast since
We haven't talked about any of this.
Jay,
really.
are you not going to give her context?
What?
Yeah.
What kind of context?
Like,
No,
I
I
don't
was
think,
gonna bring up
Oh, and you can
Steambox,
share with
Yeah.
the-
and then we could.
I don't think Liz knows what a video game is right now.
I don't know what a video
So
game
who wants
is.
to take the reins? You look like you know.
Video game
Jay
researcher.
Pecco.
So we start with
The man with the info.
what's
What's
with
going
the
on?
OS.
Yeah, start with Steam.
Let's start with Steam. Okay, so Steam is a distribution service for games that Valve created,
Yes.
and it is
It's
hugely,
like a iTunes for
hugely
games, right?
popular because they've basically brought a ton of different types of games together, indie games, AAA, and then they run these crazy sales, and people just buy all sorts of games. Like Kearney owns about 1,000 games on Steam that he's never played.
Yep.
Oh,
Never
so,
will.
Sometime last year, I think they announced this thing called the Living Room Initiative, or like
Big Picture.
Oh,
Big
wait.
Big
Picture.
picture.
is this the one where you can share with your friends?
No.
No.
Part,
What is
that's,
that?
that's part of it. That's part
coming.
of it.
No, that was we talked
Those are
about it a couple
baseball
weeks
cards.
ago.
With the gum that slices your gums.
Yeah, close. And there's pictures of baseball players on it, right?
On the back, there's statistics.
So
I love statistics.
Steam was so this or last week Valve announced 3 huge announcements for Steam to expand the Steam universe, as they put it. The first one is Steam OS, which is for the last couple months Gabe Newell's been saying like Linux is the next big thing in gaming, and Steam OS is basically Linux, and it will please fill in the blanks, but it will allow you to also stream PC and Mac games to your TV, but the whole thing is centered around the big picture experience so that you can play games on the Steam OS, on your TV, stream games from your PC or Mac, and that was the big announcement on Monday, Steam OS. Wednesday, they announced Steam Machines, which we've been talking about actually for the last couple months, which essentially are computers that run Steam OS that will allow you to have a little machine in your instead of like an Apple TV or an Ouya or whatever, like you have the Steam box and it runs Steam OS, you can download your games, play them.
And they're powered by Steam.
Powered by Steam.
TVs.
literally.
TVs are like windows, but instead of seeing what's right outside of you, it's like a window into a million different theaters where there's different plays going on. Right?
Okay.
Do you know? Oh, plays
What's a
were
play?
invented by William Shakespeare.
What's a window?
Window.
There's a hole in a wall.
It's a hole in a wall with some glass on it.
All right.
I think the big thing about Steam Machines, though, that I think needs to happen to convince me that they're going to be great and successful is that they need to be affordable. Because XI3, right, was the company that we were talking about that might have been pitching a Steam box or something, and they make the really little computers, and the one they just announced for gaming, the Piston, is $1,000.
Wait, is that too expensive, or do you just not make enough money, Pecco? Because I throw that shit around on dinner.
Well, you
$1,000, boom, who cares?
You bought an Ouya for $100, and it's still underneath your desk.
Exactly. That's what I do to things that are under $1,000. I ignore
Under
them
my desk.
because they're for poor people.
And the final announcement.
That was awesome.
He's got a point. The final announcement that
No, I
Valve
don't.
made on Friday was a controller, which looks really weird. It looks like a big owl head, and instead of having joysticks, it has flat or not flat, but like I don't know. It's like haptic feedback. So instead of actually-
Concave.
2 large circles where the thumbsticks would be.
yeah, and it's supposed to give you feedback through haptics, which essentially is vibrations in the controller. I've read a few things on the early prototypes, and people have sort of mixed reviews on them. But it should be really interesting. I mean, it's another console for your living room, and depending on the price, it could be a really really cool thing because
That
there's
looks
a
really
ton
cool.
of great games on Steam. So
Yeah, so the controller, I think, has probably gotten the most press. We'll circle back with everything, but that's probably been the biggest thing because it's so different than... Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're making a game controller, there's something sort of similar that's just been done, right? Everybody looks at the Xbox controller and says that's probably one of the best. PlayStation 1's not that far different. It's like you got your 2 thumbsticks, you got your little 4 buttons in one place, your little D-pad in another place. It's like everybody who comes out with one, even the Ouya, is pretty much the same thing,
Yeah,
right?
just
It's like they all
worse.
do this exact same looking thing. Even the Piston, when you see their controller, it looks just like a 360 controller.
Copycats.
So here comes Valve, and they they take something that is really just sort of taken for granted, like, okay, a car has 4 wheels and there are 2 in front and 2 in back. And they've taken something and they sort of flipped it completely on its head. So we're going to take the thumbsticks away. That's a big part of it. We replaced it with these touch circles that have haptic feedback that are electromagnets underneath that also double as speakers, by the way. And then they've taken the D-pad away, and then in place of the D-pad they said, well, we're going to give you a touch screen in between the 2 circles. And then, in addition to that, the 4 buttons, the A, B, X, Y buttons are
You
moving.
mean triangle, square, circle, X?
No, those
No.
are stupid.
Yes.
We're talking about video games, Jason, not Blu-ray players.
The buttons that have always, not always, but
zappy
traditionally
buttons.
existed right over the right thumbstick have moved to the very center.
Yeah.
And it's just, they've completely
that shit about?
redesigned, and it does look just like an owl head. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
But
With
the haptic
jowls.
stuff
With
is
jowls, it's an owl with
crazy.
I
jowls.
still think
Right?
those extra buttons need to go on the back of the controller where your
That's what
fingers
I thought
actually
this
are.
was the back of the controller.
But it's
When they
weird.
first showed it, I was like, oh, it's the back because it's concave.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to mess around with.
but
Yeah.
the haptic stuff is nuts, right? Like
Yeah,
the
that's
haptic,
super cool.
The haptic stuff is when you're moving your thumbs on the touchpads. There's like little tiny vibrations that are supposed to make it feel like you're actually touching buttons and things.
Yeah, yep.
buttons
So, like-
and things.
Things.
It actually, and it can make, it depends on, there's different types of haptic feedback. It can also, it can compress and press up on the surface, so it makes it feel like it's got a texture to it.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
depending on the resolution, how many actual pistons are underneath, you can have something that feels really bumpy
That's
or really
crazy.
rough. Yeah.
And that's something they've been talking about for a while on touchscreen devices.
Yeah.
Is once everyone's like, well, what's the next thing for Apple on the iPad, right? They've kind of like, they've done what they're going to do. And everyone goes, well, the next thing is a haptic touchscreen where when I'm using a virtual D-pad, it actually is a virtual D-pad, basically, because it feels
that would be like the only thing that could make a virtual joystick even remotely an option, because most games with them suck.
I think that they should. All I want to do now is make a game called "What Am I Touching?" and the screen is black, right? And you have the little touch buttons, and you're just rubbing your thumbs, and it's like, "What am I touching?" The screen's
That's a
black,
nipple.
and then you're like, "What is it?" And then it gives you multiple choice, and then you choose, and then it shows you what you're touching. That'd be crazy. It'd be like,
That would be kind of
dog.
cool. I won't lie.
Right?
I would
What am I
enjoy that.
touching?
I'd play that game.
I
Final
don't know
style.
though, because
What?
could you really like? I don't know that they could get the kind of fidelity that you'd need to be able to determine. Be like, oh, this is a smooth.
My
surface.
company
You're gonna have to shelve that one, James Cameron.
I think you know what? I'm sorry, naysayers, but my company has been
Sean
working on
Co?
tech.
Sean
Yeah,
Co.
Sean
Steel
Corp.
Company?
Yeah, we
Final
work on
style.
sheet metal.
Why don't you
Kearney Corp.
tell us what you think? What do you think about all 3 announcements?
Cool.
You have Steam, right? You play Steam?
Yeah, I play Steam.
And? Do
I
you-
have not played it on my TV at all yet.
The big picture
I
mode
have
stuff?
not played any big picture mode or whatever.
Because big picture
you know,
mode to date has been
You don't have to
strictly a different, basically, UI, right, for Steam, but it's still on a regular computer. It's just if you're hooking it up to a TV,
Yeah, I
you can
think
choose
so.
this other.
It's meant to be used so you can use it with a controller. That's the big thing about it. It's like you can use it on your computer. You just hit the big picture mode button, and the UI turns into basically as if you would just use a controller instead of using a mouse.
okay.
That's what it's more integrated for.
Okay.
And that's what this device is going to be, right? Is it's basically going to be big picture mode. And then if you have a box that only is plugged up to your TV, that's in big picture mode. Like now you have a video game console.
Yeah.
It's going to change the world.
Josh,
What is that? What is that?
Big picture mode.
any thoughts?
What?
I'm completely, I'm completely on Pekka's side where it has to be affordable for it to be kind of worth my attention. I love Steam. I mean, I bought what was it, BioShock Infinite for like $13 like 2 weeks ago. I installed it. I haven't played it yet. Just like
Mac.
That's what Steam's good for. Downloading and installing games.
and never playing them.
Purchasing.
cut my
Yeah,
money.
installing it.
So I mean, I love the product, and if it can be something that takes me past what I would get with an Xbox or a PlayStation, that would have to be worth my while, because the Linux thing, that doesn't matter. I mean, the first PlayStation, or not first PlayStation, but PlayStation 3 first had Linux on it that you can run, and that even went away because not enough people used it, and then all the Linux people, all 4 of them, complained. And so yeah.
Yeah, Fennel, what did you say when you complained? What did you
I never
do?
did it
Exactly what
actually.
you're complaining
When
about.
when they took it away, I was like, "What the fuck?" Oh, I don't care. How dare they?
Damn it!
Never
This
mind.
feature I didn't use is gone.
Yeah. Shit, what if I wanted to in a month?
that I didn't.
So,
What about you, Jason?
I've been struggling with a long time about even a year ago when we started talking about the Steam box stuff and the initiatives, and just Valve, the whole Steam PC gaming thing in general. I've been really struggling to try and put into words why I have apathy towards it, like why it's hard for me to care. And the other day, I can't remember who I was talking to, but something clicked, and I knew exactly what it was.
You have a life?
No,
Oh.
I don't. I wish I did. No, so it comes down to the fact that computers. I have this one thought about computers, which is that they're not a continuous box that you can play in, like a one playground where you do something here and it'll work over here. Like every computer is different. A Windows application can't work on a Mac, and sometimes things are available on the Windows, and sometimes they're available on the Mac. Sometimes they're not available on Linux. And beyond that, different builds and different operating systems, some things can run and some things can't. It gets very, very convoluted to me. And so the idea of
drivers and hardware specs and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and do you have the right hardware to run this thing? And so that always was a headache to me. And I'm getting somewhere with this, but the flip side of it is a console, right? A console is, I guarantee you, if you buy something for this console, it'll work. It'll work the way it was intended to work, and you'll have the same experience as everyone else. And I know a lot of people, quote Apple is like this as well with a lot of their projects, but you're going to get something that as long as you stay in that ecosystem, it just works. And when I want to play games, that's a leisure thing for me. And so I don't want any sense of responsibility or pain involved in installing something or making sure something works. Now, to be fair, having tried Steam may solve all of that.
I think you're taking a really long time to say Steam has a big mountain of Xbox Live to get over, right?
Yeah, but it goes into hardware now with the new announcement as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just that Valve comes out and says, hey, we have a new operating system based on Linux, and then announcement 2 is the one that baffles me. Because announcement 3, hey, great, we've created this really cool, new, crazy controller. Announcement 2 is, we are going to be building a piece of hardware, and then subpoint is, so are other people. And I just thought, what? Like, that confused me. So is Valve putting out a hardware spec that everybody else has to match? Well, then why wouldn't I just buy Valve's? They're the one that says that makes it, like, if Valve wants to get into the console business, Valve, make a piece of hardware and I'll buy that, and I'll trust you that everything works on it.
I
now
think
that
they
you're
get
opening
killed,
it up to,
though, by people, like, because I think because I'm on your side 100%, but I also think that in the world of Steam, we're in the minority.
Yeah.
Of if Valve said, we're making a piece of hardware and you only use our hardware, like the people who use Steam would just, their heads would explode and go, no, this is why I play PC games. And I don't get those people.
But for those people,
But,
you still
yeah.
have what Valve was based on.
Sure.
Which is the PC.
Sure.
If you want to customize and have this crazy hardware and all that stuff,
that's very true.
make yourself a PC.
That is very
If
true.
you want to go after the living room audience, the you and the me,
Yeah.
why in the world would you make it complicated?
And that's why I don't think it's going to be cheap either. Is because I think that they're not going after us. And if they were going after us, they'd make a cheap console that plays Steam games.
Yeah.
But instead, they're like, no, we're just trying to make another thing that
Yeah.
hardcore Valve Steam players are going to play.
And this, by the way, not to go completely off on it, it comes into development as well. So I don't know about you guys, but something that pisses me off about developing mobile apps is suddenly now, for design, you have 2 different screen sizes for an iPhone. Oh, and now you've got 5 different screen sizes with iPads and iPads mini and Retina display and blah, blah, blah. You've all this stuff you have to design around.
About Android.
Android sucks anyways. And
Android's not real.
it's true. And so I think about development. I think about what I would want to do is I would want to develop something once. And I would want that to be easily portable to other things. Hence why Unity to me is so incredible. Because you build a game once on whatever platform you want to build it on, and you can deploy it to all these different things. But so the thing that excites me the most about what's coming up is the Valve thing. It's like, okay, I'm more excited about both PS4 and Xbox being playing really, really well to the indie developer, who now both indie markets can play, dev for and deploy on both consoles very, very easily. And that's exciting to me. This is kind of like, Valve, it feels like you got one foot in the water. Like, if you're going to go after the living room audience, go after it. Because you made some big, sexy announcements this week. And I could have been genuinely interested in your product. And that second announcement just sort of like, well, I'd rather go with something I know is going to work every time and I don't have to think about, which is the Xbox or the PS4. I probably won't get the PS4, but, Anyways, that's my rant.
What did Krankle say? Valve only has to put risk into the OS and then approve hardware manufacturers. It's brilliant for them. Well,
Yeah, but approve the hardware manufacturers? What does that mean?
And
how is Valve going to... That's a big management. How is Valve going to maintain that XI3 has the same quality of components as Samsung that has the same quality that they have? That's a big... You want your game company to manage the hardware people? No thanks. No thanks.
I don't think it's quality of components. I think it's matching a specification. They can pretty clearly see, does it match specification? Okay, it gets a Valve sticker. Does it not? Okay, well, it doesn't.
But if you don't...
Try at your own expense.
So then as a consumer, let's say that you get a Valve-approved box that fails after 1 month, and all of your friends got an actual Valve box that's been bulletproof. Would you be upset?
I'd be upset with the manufacturer. I don't necessarily know I'd go after
But it's been Valve-approved.
Yeah.
But I also don't think Valve's making their own box, are they? Or Valve, I thought that they were just approving other people, so there's not even an option to get a Valve box.
That's the same argument as being pissed off because the Xbox 360 was pushed out too fast, and a lot of them failed. That's the exact same thing, and that was Microsoft's decision. So everyone should have been pissed at Microsoft.
That was
and
brilliant.
They weren't.
That was brilliant.
And you say that it was brilliant.
Do you know why it was brilliant?
This is brilliant for them because they don't have to manage the hardware at all.
They do have to manage
don't.
it. They have to say Valve approved. They have to give you that stamp.
They have to say the specification has been followed.
Specifications. Now, quality
has
of
nothing to do with
components.
That's up to the consumer.
That's totally up to the consumer.
And so, okay, fair enough. I totally hear you. I don't want that responsibility. I want my game company to hand me something with their quality seal of approval that I know everybody else is getting, that I know I have the same chance of hardware failure and hardware success as anyone else.
That's why you buy Nintendo, man. The Wii U, you know that shit's gonna work because you're only gonna use it three times.
What might actually benefit Valve at this point is if they do find out that there's a big long line of manufacturers that are producing failing valves, they could pretty much just say every one of these hardware manufacturers has to recall everything. Because it's their brand, right? They're pretty much saying, you are not passing spec, and it's been proven on the floor, take everything back. And then the manufacturer has to handle that. Valve doesn't.
And it still has to be at a price point low enough to be better than an Xbox or a PlayStation.
And that's probably the big argument. Right?
Because you're getting so much more than just a system with each one of those. You're getting all of your streaming things. You're getting all of your other subscriptions of
all your Steam porn. Come on,
exactly all the perks that come with like an Xbox Live or PlayStation Network and stuff. So
I'd be fascinated by. I haven't read into the specs of the hardware or anything. I'd be fascinated by the idea of a console maker saying, we're going to make this piece of hardware and we want to make it specifically cheap, and we're going to have 16 gigs of onboard storage, but it's going to play incredibly nicely with any possible external storage. So you can store all of your games on an external device, and when you're ready to play it, you say, I want to play this, and it transfers everything onto the flash memory that's on board the box. So it's kind of like you can play one game at a time, which is what I do anyways, what everybody usually does. I don't know what Xbox is doing there, but and when you're ready to play, it's kind of like that way you can reduce costs. I don't have to pay for a 500 gig hard drive to go into this thing. I can just pay for the flash memory, which is cents on the dollar now.
That makes sense generally, but like swapping stuff out, I have a feeling a lot of hardcore gamers would be like, I played tons of games and I jump back around between them a lot, so they may not want.
I don't think the Valve box. I honestly don't believe that in their heart of hearts they're like, oh, we're gonna be the next Xbox One or the next PS4. I don't think they're even going against those guys. I think they just see another market. Because I think the dude who plays Halo and Call of Duty is not going to buy a Steam box. He doesn't want one. He's like, no, I buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, and that's hard enough for him to figure out which one of those he's going to get.
Right.
I think the fact that if I talk to any of my friends that aren't making games, they have no idea what a Steam machine is. Right, but everybody knows what a PlayStation 4 is.
Well, they should put another feather in their cap and just make it a steampunk box.
That's true.
Steampunk it out because they got that going for them.
They should have called it a Steam machine.
They did call it a Steam.
Steam engine.
Oh yeah, I meant to say engine. I meant to say they should have called it a steam engine.
That would have
They
been
should
a,
call themselves Steam.
that would have been a
That's a
great
cool name.
They should
for
make
the
video
actual
games.
OS, Steam Engine.
Steam engine.
I would've-
Oh, that would.
Yeah.
would've
So
been
I
absolutely-
trademarked it. You guys heard it all on this podcast. It's mine.
TM, bitch.
so it's gonna be crazy, right? We're all gonna get one.
I don't know if I'll go. Maybe
I
I'll.
signed up for the beta thing. Like, hopefully, I'm one out of the 175,000 people.
Don't
So-
you have to already be using big picture mode or something? They have
You have to
statistics.
just play one
You have to
game.
go into big
It's just
picture
a
mode,
mode.
once.
Yeah.
Like
I
I said,
thought
you,
that-
you can do it on your laptop right now.
No, I thought.
doing it
Sorry,
right now.
I thought they tracking statistics, and you, in order
Sean,
to
you
like be
had it.
considered, you have
I
to
had
have
it
been
up.
using big picture mode. And
You
they've
just
been
have to go
tracking
into it once and play a game. So I did that for a minute. Signed out. I'm all qualified.
Pecco lives his life in big picture mode.
I do. Not in Steam though.
Not little picture mode.
Nope.
Big picture.
Interesting.
Little picture doesn't get any play.
Interesting. I tell you.
Sometimes it gets tickled.
I don't even know
what the euphemism is. Like I don't even know
I like
why
it.
that's funny,
I like it.
but it works.
Probably something to do with a penis.
What? That's not what I got out of it.
What? Oh, are we not allowed to say that?
This is a child-friendly podcast.
Because we're all
Exactly.
children.
As we talk about killing babies and pixels with baby's blood.
Hey, did you know that word backwards is synap?
What word?
What word?
Penis?
Penis?
Synapse?
Why would you say it backwards?
It's synapse.
I don't know.
Okay.
Synap. Yeah.
Synapse.
Is that a
Synapse.
word?
Not synapsis.
Or synapse. Or anything.
synopsis.
Or a word?
None
So-
of those things.
What?
You
you
completely
for a
stopped the podcast yet again.
Did you know that poop backwards is poop? Poop?
Do you know what that's called?
Hi, everybody. Holy cow. Sosa spelled backwards is assholes. Come swim.
Come sway it. Come sway it. Hey!
So, what else you got, Josh?
I don't know. What the fuck is
a whole bunch of stuff on there. Does anyone know any of this shit?
Should we just talk about the elephant?
Let's
in the
be
room?
honest. Let's
Grand
be
Theft
honest.
Auto.
Oh, Grand Theft
Let-
Auto.
Wait,
Grand
before we
Theft
get there,
Auto.
before we get there,
God.
who here has actually posted something to Evernote in the last 2 or 3 months? Raise your hand.
If not.
I haven't been on the
Good.
podcast.
I don't
Good for
think
you.
that I have access
Good
to
for
that.
you.
And I think we actually talked about one of them, but I don't remember.
I have definitely lacked.
Oh yeah, I
in that
posted
area.
Taekwondo Spider-Man. That's what I posted. Taekwondo Spider-Man. You should check this bad boy
What
out.
is that?
It's a dude. It's Spider-Man doing Taekwondo.
Is it
Everything
on
you
Hollywood
would imagine
Boulevard?
it would be. No, it's not. It's in a studio.
A studio.
A good thing the quality is very high.
Yeah.
This is the advertisement
This ad
before the
looks
video.
great.
You see those boxes?
I like
Those
it.
are called pixels.
pixel.
No, that doesn't look
No,
like
those
baby
are blocks.
blood.
Those are blocks of
Color.
compression.
Is there audio? With...
There he is, Taekwondo Spider-Man. Wow. You guys having fun, Taekwondo Spider-Man? You should go look it up. It's good fun.
What was that move? It was like the look at my crotch punch in the head.
Oh,
That's some badass shit right there.
yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
Nerdtastic in 3D, the podcast where we
jumped
watch
over
videos
He jumped
and
over-
don't even describe them to you. We just express how much we
jumped-
like
he
He
them.
jumped
Totally
over a
got it.
6 foot tall guy's head and kicked him in the back of the head on the way over.
No, I like when he
And
does
by the way, we
handstand
play
and
them
kicks the guy
in
the-
silence.
Ridiculous.
I don't think. I think it's just.
I
me.
like
All
the
right.
handstand.
All right, let's do
kicking
it.
in the
Let's do
head.
it. Go ahead. Who here has purchased and played? That last part is very important, Josh.
Played.
GTA 5.
Even
Game of the year.
Oh, we'll give you open.
Wait,
if
I
you
want to
open
talk
the
about
box.
it, and I haven't even purchased it.
Purchased.
Game of the
still
year.
in the
Same
wrapper.
here, yeah.
Bought it first day. Still in the wrapper.
What?
Boo.
I know.
I'm still watching Spider-Man, guys. I have.
This is
Do you
much
have a
longer.
PS3?
It's very.
Can I
long.
borrow it?
Totally thought
I
you
do
were
have
going
a
to say something
PS3.
else.
Apparently,
You
we're,
do?
we're all playing on the
I
Xbox.
have bought
for
it.
the Xbox.
So
I'm
I'm
on
gonna.
the Xbox. I don't have
I'm gonna give you guys
Me
my
neither.
experience of first playing this game because I actually wanted to play the game twice in the same night. First sober and then not sober,
Nice.
just to sort of feel it through,
Compare and
you know,
contrast,
see how
yeah.
it goes.
Did you take notes?
It was no, I didn't, but it was extremely immersive. Just the first time I played it, mainly because like you start out as your character Franklin, and you're kind of walking around, and you have limited missions that you can do, but. The world is so rich, ridiculously rich. Like I was sitting there eating my food with the audio on, and I kept hearing things. And I'm like, "What is that?" It's the TV. So I'm turning the TV up. What are you laughing?
Taekwondo Spider-Man just punched
Taekwondo
that guy in
Spider-Man
the
is the
nuts.
badass.
And then he did like
He did like a oops.
geisha laugh. What the hell is going
Yeah.
on? I'm sorry. I'm trying to listen to you.
Hey, I just posted the link so everyone
This
else
wasn't-
can check it out as well. Let's Twitter this sucker out.
But it was just crazy listening to all of the conversations and vehicles and other kind of traffic just kind of wandering around while I was eating my food and just kind of letting the game sit there and play. So then I played, and the first time I've ever played any of the GTA games, driving the cars in first person mode, like I'm driving the car, looking through the front of the car as if I was actually driving the car, and I did that while I was not sober, and it was awesome. It was like the coolest thing ever because I'm going down the street about 150 miles an hour, not giving a fuck, and it actually felt super immersive. You could use the D-pad to look around, not the D-pad. You could use like the look pad to look around, and while you're driving, and I'm like rolling on the street, like waving
an
at
actual name
people
for
and
that?
stuff, and like, hey, how's it going? But it's super fun. I think Jack mentioned that he ended up losing like 2 hours just playing tennis. He played tennis
Yeah.
for 2 hours.
The tennis is really good.
man.
They do a great job on tennis, and their yoga is like stupid fun
It's-
for what
Sorry,
it
what?
is.
I
You
disagree.
can do yoga.
You can do yoga.
I was
and
bored
it's
with yoga.
I thought it was fun.
I haven't played the
What
game yet.
that
I've heard a
is.
lot of people talk about it. I've seen some videos. Everything looks amazing. But today, the IGN released an article called 100 Little Things in GTA 5 that will blow your mind. And this is what makes me want to play the game. Like, a couple of them, there's 100 things that Rockstar paid so much attention to that they put into the game. Things that you probably won't ever even notice. Like, if you...
Now we will.
Flip-flops actually flop when they're worn. They're not glued to the bottom of the feet of the character. When wading in the water, your clothes get wet, but only up to the point that you actually waded. If you punch somebody in the face who's wearing sunglasses, their sunglasses will fall off of their face. There's a
the
100
little
of these
things.
things.
It is the little things.
But that's
But no,
like,
I think that's amazing
That's
that they
what
paid that
creates-
much attention to detail.
and
in
that's
the
what
game.
creates immersive experience.
What about this
Emergent,
one?
I'm sorry, emergent experience.
If you try to snap a picture of a street performer without tipping them, they get angry.
Yes.
It's great. Sweat will
Like
seep
they're
through your
like-
character's clothes if they run or exercise for an extended period of time. Like, it's just like the little things that then you can create a story in this game so easily of just like, oh, I just played for an hour last night, didn't do any of the missions, didn't do anything that they wanted you to do.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty
Sean
much
was
my
trying to
first
take a
night.
selfie.
Yeah, I was trying to take
Yeah.
a selfie, but my phone wouldn't take the picture because I got this awesome sunset view where I drove out some damn place. I'm like, this looks fucking amazing. And I went to take a selfie in front of it, but the phone wouldn't hook up because I didn't connect it to Life Feeder or whatever.
Also, all three characters have different cell phones, and
Yes.
each one's
Life
based
Invader.
on a big cell phone manufacturer. So
iPhone.
Franklin has an Android, Michael has an iPhone, and Trevor has a Windows phone. And it's perfectly set up. Like, of course, like Michael, the rich, like whatever, would have the iPhone,
Oh, I thought
and
you were
then
saying
the
Android.
He's the yuppie guy.
he's the
is
yuppie has the
it's
iPhone.
iFruit.
iFruit, and then the weirdo has the Windows phone, which is completely true too.
The Dilettante, the in-game Prius clone, initially runs silent until you aggressively accelerate, at which point the engine kicks in.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Ridiculous. Like, nobody
Yeah.
would even notice that.
and they also do
Somebody
a great
did.
job.
You're reading it on somebody posted it
Yeah,
right there.
and now I'm going to notice
Yeah.
it.
But
when I
they
buy it
do-
and play it.
But like, yeah, as people
Yeah.
make games,
I
it's
saw-
like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw the.
Sorry, before you go in there, has anyone gone to the movie theater and watched a movie? There is a
I thought you
fucking
meant, like, in real life.
full-on movie that is like one of those crazy film noir, super artistic-y movies.
Is it
but
based off L.A. Noir? That would be even.
No, it's
better.
not. It's very, very artsy. It's like over the top artsy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like they put production value into this movie that is inside the video game. And I literally sat and watched it for a good 20 minutes, and it never repeated itself. So
That's
I'm
crazy.
thinking it's a full length like feature
That-
film
that
you
sounds
could
like
just
it-
sit down
Yeah.
and watch
something
the
that
whole
they would
thing.
put in there.
I'm showing Jay right now. They have a thing called Social Club, which is plugged into all Rockstar games, and it's a website. And actually, you can download on your iPhone an iFruit app that accesses this.
Yeah.
And what it is they're keeping track of everything that goes on in the game, and I can look up and see what missions I've completed, where I've completed them, and anyone who took a picture with their in-game cell phone while playing a mission, it automatically gets tagged with the location and the mission. So I can see people who took pictures playing the same mission that I played. Like, it's like stupid.
They need
how
to start
deep it
putting
goes.
some crazy like CIA expansion packs in where you're using all of this data
To
to like
figure something
find
out.
people
Do
and shit. That'd be
something.
awesome.
Didn't you say, like, in
Person
one of
of
the
interest
backgrounds
style.
of one of the things they talk about the NSA thing, and it was
Oh.
like,
Yeah, so this was probably the coolest thing that I've seen so far, is in one point you go to their fake Facebook. It's called Life Invader.
Life Invader, yeah.
And I was walking through, and the attention to detail was crazy. They had whiteboards where, like, jokes were written. And there was a parody of the of PRISM, the, like, CIA spying on Americans program. And they called it Jism. But it was amazing to me because that story broke, like, 3 months ago. This game had to, like, be about to be, like, in order to manufacture all the discs and all that, this game had to be done right about the time this happened, which meant that at some point, somebody went, hey, we should make a joke and call it Jism. And somebody went, stop the presses, we need to update this texture in the Facebook room before we send this out. And it's like, it's the, like, best example, I think, since South Park of incredibly talented, smart people using all of their brain power to make dick jokes. Like, the jokes
the
are
expense
so
of what we do in life.
yeah, the jokes are so juvenile, but it's like these guys spend all this time just to make, like, poop jokes and dick jokes, and it's so well done. It's so good that I was driving through the Beverly Hills area, and my wife was, like, watching the TV, and she works in Beverly Hills, and she's like, oh, I know that parking structure. They did a parking structure. Like, what? There's the Fox building that's the Nakatomi Plaza in Die Hard is there, completely recreated, including the lobby. Like, what?
Awesome.
So I wanted to go into a couple of quick statistics about the game. So first and foremost, the combined production and marketing costs for the game. Anyone know?
$250 million.
Yeah.
Nope.
Higher?
Yep.
260.
Oh, marketing too, right?
317.
265. 265 million, making it production costs. Let's see. The production costs were 137 million. Production costs. That means that there was 130 million on marketing.
Yeah, I mean, the side of that building downtown is all
that
GTA.
makes it the most expensive video game ever produced and one of the most expensive entertainment properties ever marketed in history. In addition to that, in 24-hour period, it made $800 million. In 2 days, I believe it might have been 3.
So it was 3
I think
days.
it's 3.
It crossed the $1 billion mark.
So I have a question. For the 24 hours, does that count pre-sales or no?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
it does,
do they not
because
count
that's
that money until...
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So in 3 days, it passes $1 billion, which Avatar, which is the highest grossing entertainment property in single entertainment property in history, from what I understand, $2.7 billion worldwide. It got to $1 billion in something like 17 days. So maybe it was 7 months. Anyways, it was a long period of time. But it was the point is that GTA has shattered not just in game industry records, but entertainment industry records. It's the fastest entertainment property in history to get to 500,000, to get to 800,000, to get to $1 billion. Fastest in history, blowing out previously the Call of Duty. And what I just want to say is, previously Call of Duty had broken its own record incrementally. Now, I'm not shaming it. They are big numbers, right? Every year it did.
It took them like 7 days to get to $1 billion.
Yeah.
As
Right,
opposed to
but
3
it was
days.
they always
It's still,
did like
it's still 1 week to get to $1 billion.
24-hour period. You did $300 million,
Right.
whatever, like big numbers. This blows it out of the water. I don't think anything's going to come close to this.
Except GTA 6.
But and it's so good too. Like, not to like, there's so many
they
of those
did-
examples where you'll go like, oh, Call of Duty, and you're like, but kind of the single player sucks. This is like so deserving of
I mean,
that.
since none of us have played the multiplayer yet, the only thing we really have to go on is a single player, but it delivered.
And there's a whole
everywhere.
multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's just this. And this is, like, the perfect example for me of, like, them using so much cool, innovative technology to make a poop joke is there's 2 stock markets in the game. There's one stock market that exists solely for the game, so it's kind of designed by the designers. And so this is one that, like, within a game, the stocks will rise and fall based on things that are happening within the game, so they can kind of control this stock market, right? So that's one. But they also have another stock market that's controlled by an aggregate of the entire community playing the game, right? And so if For example, if you invest in the company that makes like these Prius type cars, you can invest in that company. And then if I invest in it and then Jason's playing it on his PS3 and he crashes, Jason Pecco is playing it on his PS3 and he crashes a bunch of these cars, the stock will drop on those cars because they're being deemed unsafe or something like that. Like it's like that. It's that intense, right? And
We should get one of our personal armies to rise up and like destroy the whole section.
Technically,
of the stock
you
market.
could do that, and then so right now I'm on a website that is live with a ticker showing me this stock market, so that I can see that I'm making some money on my pharmaceutical company.
What's that stock market called?
And this is where it all comes together. Unlike NASDAQ, or much like NASDAQ, that stock market is called Bossack. But that is amazing that they were able to implement this in a video game and all like everything that's involved in that. And then they're like, so what are we going to call this thing? And somebody went, we should call it Ballsack. And they went, no, that's stupid, you immature asshole. It's going to be Bossack. Like that's what's so great about this is it was made by a bunch of cool guys who happen to be brilliant.
Yeah.
I saw a video today, actually, from the guys who do Achievement Hunter. It was 35 Ways to Die in Grand Theft Auto 5. And it starts off like kind of how you'd expect, right?
Maybe they're going to do Darwin Awards for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Well, I figured out who the winner is from this video.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's typical stuff. Crash your car into a wall, get hit by killed by a pedestrian, get shot by the cops. You know, there's a lot of typical stuff. And it's sort of like the first, 15 are kind of like, yeah, okay. And then it starts getting interesting. And there's one where it just shows a little clip of each one. And then it just shows a guy, and then a dog comes and mauls him, and it just says "dogged." And then it shows a guy, and he's on a mountain, and then a mountain lion comes out of nowhere and kills him, mountain lion. And it just goes on and on and on. But then they do some funny stuff, but finally it culminates at the very, very end where. And there's a lot of fun ones. You can chime in if there's other ones too. But
well, there's Wall was my favorite.
Yeah,
a guy runs, and this is a thing that happens to me all the time in the game. Is the button for jump is also the button for grab and lift yourself over a wall.
Yeah,
so a lot of times I'll be running and I'll want to just vault, but instead I'll jump and then smack into the wall. And the game instantly, they have a pretty cool sort of physics engine that lets you go ragdoll, but kind of smart. So it's brutal when you fall.
Yeah, because you pretty much do one of these for people that are on the camera. You jump up and your knees hit, and then your whole body just goes blah, and you face plant
flip
on
over.
the other side of
and
the
it
thing.
looks painful. So they have Wall, which is literally a guy runs full force and jumps into a wall and kills himself by just hitting the wall too hard.
There's some other interesting ones. Not as funny, but I guess if you stalk a pedestrian,
I have done that.
if you
It's
just
fun.
follow a pedestrian around, eventually they'll start swearing at you and turn around and just cold cock you and you'll die. Not like they'll knock you out, you'll
That's
die.
awesome.
But this thing culminates in I honestly laughed out loud in my office when I saw this. But on train tracks, you just see in the distance a little Cessna airplane, and then a car, and then a guy standing there, and a train coming towards you. So the train hits the plane, which hits the car, which kills the guy, and it says exactly that: hit by a car that was hit by a plane that was hit by a train.
It's like the double.
So wait, Korean Killa is saying GTA has about a month and a half left to live. I imagine because of how I think you know all of us, you're talking about Call of Duty, but what game is going to overdo it? Because I want to say to all the Call of Duty fans out there, I watched a video today of buildings collapsing in Battlefield 4, and it blew my mind. It's so cool. These buildings collapse in real time, and watching them fall, and then watching people dodge pieces of rubble, it looked like something that probably 2 or 3 times I've seen images and video from Battlefield 4 that make me go, oh, that's why we need new consoles. Because they look so freaking lifelike, and the stuff they're doing with it is so cool. It's like, oh, that's how I want to play a first-person shooter.
But I know I'm never going to play that game just to see buildings fall over, right?
But I probably will.
Well, you'll play any game.
You'll play it on the Wii U though, or the
It's true.
Or the Ouya. How's that going?
So I brought the Ouya into work, and it sat on my desk for probably 3 weeks, a month. And then last night I brought it home, and somebody was like, "Oh, you can play the Ouya?" And I went, "No, it's just taking up space on the desk."
So now it's underneath his desk, no longer on the desk. I'm actually curious, having a woman here, with GTA being this series that has traditionally been such a man-focused series,
Yeah.
and dick jokes and
Which I can
Gangster rap.
appreciate.
Yeah, we're talking to Liz here.
I can appreciate.
I know that you can absolutely
dick joke,
appreciate
a
it,
bad
but
dick
like,
joke.
what is your experience with the GTA series? Have you?
I've never played it.
You never played it?
I've never played it.
Never
I've-
gone
Any of
into a
them?
strip club and gotten a lap dance from a digital character?
And then started
No.
a fight and got your ass
I
kicked.
don't know where you're going with the beginning part of that, but
And then
digital,
picked up
no.
a hooker and got your thing done, and then knocked her over.
My
her out
wife,
and took her
I was
money.
playing it with my wife, and I was like, "Hey, look, I'm picking up a prostitute."
Isn't it graphic? It's so much more graphic.
it's pretty
now.
graphic. And then there's 3 options, and of course,
Yes.
I went for the most expensive
yeah,
option.
me too.
And then she went, "Well, what happens when you only give her $50?" And she was like super curious. And I don't, you guys, like everybody here's met my wife, but for those of you that don't know her, like she is not a video game. Like she does not like to sit and watch me play console games. Like I hear people who's like, "Oh, my wife will sit there and watch," or "My wife plays video games with me," or she is not that person.
I don't think anyone on
She
this
loves
podcast
it.
has
The
that
only video game
experience.
my wife has ever watched me play and enjoyed was the Uncharted ones because they looked so filmic, right? So she was like, I actually like watching that one.
Randy played Heavy Rain with me, or watched me play it and really liked it. And she plays, arguably, she's a bigger gamer than I am. She plays more shit on the iPad and on her computer than I have time to play. But when it comes to console games, she is allergic to them as though there's a stigma attached where she's like, "Oh, I'm not going to play that on a console." Like, she loves playing Mario 3 on her computer. And I was like, "Hey, I got new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U." And she's like, I don't want to play that. Like, just the fact that she has to turn on a video game console is like, that's not, no, thank you. She's that aggressively against it, but yet she married me. And then on top of that, she was like, "Hey, give that hooker $50 and see what happens." She was so curious.
I was telling Gina about all the things that you can do in GTA 5, and she was like, "Oh, I'll watch."
Yeah,
I'll
like
watch you play that."
I'm legitimately curious. But like, I want to get a copy so I can play because I've read the reviews. I've read I know the history of the series, and as far as like the I guess the stigma, the misogyny, and all that.
Yeah, and apparently
So
there is
I'm
still,
curious.
even in this one,
Yeah.
they say it's pretty misogynistic,
Yeah.
which is maybe the one flaw in an otherwise pretty incredible.
Yeah. And that's the
sort
thing that
of
I
feat.
think kind of like I'm going in with an open mind, but I'm listening to everything that they've done with the series and all the cool stuff that I'm like, don't be lazy in that. Like, maybe,
Sure.
kind of make the strides that you've made, like tech wise and all that stuff. Like, make the strides in that.
Yeah.
So
area, too,
explain
in
something
story.
to me. How does it? So I played and completed Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. I got 4, and I just got bored by
Yeah, I
it. I
did
don't know
too.
why.
Yeah. I didn't finish it.
But explain to me the map size and how it compares to, say, San Andreas. Because San Andreas, I feel like I finished that game, and there were huge chunks of the world I didn't explore.
So apparently it's bigger than San Andreas, but I think it's also more densely populated. And they do what they do a great job of, especially if you're from Los Angeles, is it all kind of makes sense. Like when you're in Hollywood and you start heading west, you're like, I'm going to get to like Westwoody, Beverly Hills eventually, right? I'm going to get to the west side. And you do. And especially you go to Venice and you're like, well, I'm just going to head down, like, I'm just going to follow the coast and then I'm going to end up in Santa Monica. And you do. And so it's definitely, whereas San Andreas, you get lost in the mountains all the time. This game, it feels like it's bigger, but there's always something going on. It's not that thing of like, I'm lost in the mountains and I'm like, oh, I don't want to play this.
Didn't they
anymore.
say
Do you
that?
think it's because you know Los Angeles?
I think
Like,
that
I'm
might
curious
be
to know what
part of
people's
it. But I
experience
think the
outside of
thing
LA
is, no matter where I am, there's something interesting to do. Whereas in the San Andreas game, sometimes you would end up in an area where there was nothing to do, and you were just like, oh, God, you're just
And
trudging
then your
through.
car would explode and you'd have to,
I have to
walk
walk
back.
Yeah.
So I think I read a thing that said that the world in GTA 5 was as big as like Red Dead combined with GTA 3.
It's
combined.
stupid
like,
big, but it's also just like instead it's almost like a real place. Like everything exists in little neighborhoods, and so even if I never look at the world as a whole world. I look at like, oh, I'm in Beverly Hills now. I'm going to hang out and do some stuff here. And then if I randomly end up in if I end up in Palm Springs, for example, I'm like, oh, well, there's enough stuff to do here. I feel like I'm in another small neighborhood. Whereas even in GTA 4, the world's sort of like, eventually you're like, oh, it's just more buildings because I'm in New York.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I do want to point out, though, is aside from Portal 2, I don't really remember ever laughing out loud at any of the dialogue in a video game, and this has made me do that multiple times.
Yeah.
Because the characters are so rich, and the story is fun, and they're acting really well, and it's funny dialogue. It's just funny.
And it's not as up its own ass as GTA 4 was. It's
It's
not
funny-
that serious story.
It's funny you say that because
because I'm not the story guy for
video
games.
game voice performances to me have always been something that's kind of like, yeah, okay, right. But like Wheatley from Portal 2, absolutely, suddenly for me was the pinnacle of like, holy cow! Like you can have a character that's like, I would play this again just to hear some of those lines again in the delivery. So it's awesome to hear that that's like continuing in a different form. I like it. So I have to mention, thank you to all of our absolutely amazing friends who have gotten us to 500 individual hearts on MXLR.
Bump that
What,
shit.
what does that mean?
It means you clicked on the heart icon
Where?
500 times. And
I'm sure it means
500
something.
different people?
I'm sure it
No.
means something to the
Ow.
community a little bit, maybe.
Oh, I
There's
mean,
nine.
It's impre-
Liz.
apparently it takes more to impress Liz than that. But hey, the rest of us here are beyond impressed. Thank you so much, everybody. Apparently we have over 1,000 total hearts. I don't know where that number came from, but props to you. So everybody who's out there, and especially I believe the Orien Kilak, Gary, you're the one who started this, so props to you.
And wait, and wasn't somebody supposed to get somebody something?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, at
What
one
was-
point it was.
Jay
That's right.
was
If we
gonna
got
buy
to
us something.
350, Jay Pecco was going to buy everybody a keychain.
Yeah. All right.
I have a couple keychains I can get you guys.
Don't worry,
Really?
I left it very unspecific, so
Great.
it just says keychain.
Just stop by the podcast next week, and I'll have some
Oh, wait.
keychains for you.
Oh, I thought it was keychain just
Some
for us.
Band-Aids.
I mean, like an infinity of those.
For the 500 people
bands
that are
for-
listening?
Everyone who emails Nerdtastic in 3D at gmail.com
Oh, man.
can get yourself a Jay Pecco approved keychain.
and,
I made-
a
approved.
used Band-Aid.
I made like an infinity of those. I made like an infinity of those over at summer camp.
Yeah, they were delightful.
Can I also invite everybody who's listening
to-
to the podcast
wait for
to GTA Online
Oh, boy.
tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Play with the podcasters.
Yeah, play with the podcasters.
Except Pecco because it isn't
Yeah.
an Xbox.
Do I need
If
to
you have an Xbox.
But other of us will be on it like 10:30ish.
Yeah. If you have an Xbox,
Can you just play online without an Xbox?
if Carter
Negative.
doesn't mind typing in my gamer tag, it's Kernoble.
Okay.
Kernobyl.
Stop being
All right.
so clever.
I was going to say, you're so smart, Sean Kearney.
And if you friend me, I'll bring you into our game. It's gonna be a bunch of folks from.
Is it
here,
like this?
From our work?
Hack the planet.
Nope.
That says Kernoble.
Nope.
Nope.
That's
Came up-
Kernoble.
Chernobyl.
That's a good one though. Maybe I'll change mine.
KERNOBYL.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Chernobyl.
Yeah, I know how to
Like
spell.
Variable?
Like the power plant. You know, like the power plant.
There you
Like
go.
the nuclear disaster.
Look him up. Okay, no, seriously, what is it?
John Kearney's a nuclear disaster.
N-O-B.
K-E-R.
N-O-B.
SOB
K-E-R.
425
Pronounced
O-B.
nuclear.
Y-L.
YL.
YL.
S.
And Korean Killer wants that keychain.
So,
He wants his Korean Killer keychain.
so
Does he have a
Sean,
stutter? I don't understand this.
No, because he has two Ks in front of his
I know,
name.
but is it because it's a stutter?
No, it's probably because he couldn't get Korean Killer at first. Well, there's a K at the beginning.
Yeah, so I don't-
Keychain.
It's a free chain. Right, guys?
I'll have to dig around for free keychain.
there you go.
Just buy a link.
So
and
when is
chain
this?
it.
This is tomorrow night?
Take one?
Tomorrow night, 9
Home Depot
p.m.
and
9
Chop it up.
p.m.
Get ready.
Sean Kearney's gamer tag, Kernobyl.
Yeah.
And this is officially going to be the game with a Nerdtastic crew and anybody else who happens to join in. We hijacked it. I don't know if it's a
fine.
Disney
Well,
mobile thing, but
Nah, it's everybody
for
now.
our purposes.
Who doesn't have GTA 5 here though?
Okay, so
we're gonna need to get
hold
that
on.
before
Who
Carter
doesn't
rectify
have-
that situation.
Carter needs to go
Xbox.
buy it.
I
and
will.
Just do it.
Here's
Thanks.
the thing.
Josh needs to open his.
I'm really, I am really
or just give it to
genuinely.
Jason if you're not going to play.
At least do it tonight because it's going to take you like an hour.
I know. I'm going to do
install
that tonight and install it.
I am genuinely very excited about GTA 5.
But
That being said, my desire to play it is slightly tainted because of GTA 4. Because
It's completely different.
Make
It's,
up for
it's
it.
made for you because I was just like you. I was like GTA 4 kind of let me down, and then GTA 5 came out, and I was like, it might let me down again, and then it didn't. It changed my life.
he hasn't slept.
It is made. It's honestly, Carter. It's like it's like Rockstar sat down and they went to your Facebook page and they're like, we're gonna make that game for him. We disappointed him. We're gonna pay him back.
I told
I
you
don't
the
know.
information's out there.
it can be that different. Because here's the thing. I enjoyed all the other ones. Vice City was fun.
Sure. So did
San
I.
Andreas was fun. 4 was just boring to
Yeah.
me.
Well, the thing that's
I only
cool
got to
about
the
this
date on the
game
board- on
that
four.
I've jumped on board with is if you get bored, switch to another character and do different missions. That's the cool thing about the
Or
game.
go
is
play
there are-
tennis, or go play golf.
Yeah,
Go hunt a shark with
Hunt
a
a
fucking
shark.
knife.
Or go on jet skis. They have jet skis, and they're so much fun.
Yeah, they are.
You got so
The
excited.
jet skis are great. I play on the jet skis all the time.
Go do some. Get some
yoga.
Go do some.
Some yoga, yeah. Apparently, you can do yoga in this.
Yoga's great.
Can you do meth?
Take some airplane
Do you get
tracking.
points
That
or
would be
something for that?
badass.
You can
if
smoke
do
weed.
You
drugs.
can smoke weed.
What?
Can you hijack an RV?
That seems
and cook
inappropriate.
meth?
You can buy a weed dispensary.
Where do you find a dealer?
Can you break back?
You go to the dispensaries in
all right.
Venice, and you can buy one.
Oh, I did.
I have
see
not
that.
been to Venice yet. I'm gonna have to go visit.
Oh, Venice is awesome. The whole game's awesome.
Damn it! I
Everything
gotta
about
open
it.
up this fucking game.
And that's not even online. Like everything we just told you, that is one
That's
part of the
first
game.
person player.
But
Then
it's
there's
only
like an
16
MMO.
people, right?
Yeah, so get in quick at 9 p.m. because if you're not on,
you
at
might
9.
not be.
Told you I'll be
on.
there at 10:30. I got bowling.
What?
Yeah,
You're on another bowling team without me?
yeah.
You're on a bowling team with me?
no,
Man.
No,
all Jay wants to do is be on a bowling team with
Pecco,
these guys.
during Pecco's birthday, was
Can you
it-
bowl in
was
GTA
it
5?
last
Can you bowl?
year?
You can
Yeah,
probably
you're-
bowl.
Can you bowl in GTA
Yeah.
5?
I don't know.
Last
you could
year-
in
All
four.
right, let's start a bowling league in GTA 5.
Yes.
Don't invite Jay.
But Pecco was
We
it
might
was
have
his
to do
birthday.
golf
We went
instead.
we went bowling for Pecco's birthday. Kearney couldn't make it because he got a flat tire.
My
Or his-
invitation
or
was
his-
lost in the
his
mail.
car
Apparently.
got broken
as
down
close
or
as
something
you
like that.
When's your birthday?
Feb 10.
When is this?
When?
Feb 10.
Oh, I think you said September. I'm like, that's not a
September.
month.
It's every month.
September.
But Kearney was wasted,
All right,
and he was just. I'm sorry, Pecco was wasted. He's just like, we
Kearney was
gotta
probably
do
wasted
boiling
too, wherever
league.
he was.
Boiling league.
We gotta do it. We gotta do this.
We gotta
render
Make a
blood
boiling
into
league?
soap.
And then they started a boiling league, and I wasn't a part
what?
of it. A boiling league.
A boiling league.
That's
now
what
he's
that's what
broiling.
lobsters do.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Seafood.
this has been Nerdtastic in 3D episode
What?
number
We're done
73.
already?
Yes, we are.
Time
Jeez.
flies, man.
Oh, man.
We're having fun. That was an hour and a half.
Look,
was an hour and
look,
a half.
It was actually not. It was an hour and 15 minutes.
Which is perfect.
Okay.
That's usually when we end it. However,
what?
since you're here, if you'd like to make the show an
Yeah.
hour and a half every Wednesday, we can do that.
Quiz
No, I
Liz.
just- it
Quiz Liz.
Quiz Liz. Quiz Liz.
Yay!
The next 15 minutes of the show
Oh,
will be
boy.
Quiz Liz.
What's the
Which
name
is
of
an
a baby
awkward
donkey?
sign.
What's the square root of
I don't know.
69?
Little ass.
30, no, I don't know. 69.
Eight.
Wait a second. What if we do
Square root.
this? The last 15 minutes of every show, we all leave, close the door, and Liz is alone. Just says whatever she wants.
That's dangerous.
And we
Don't do
promise
that.
not to listen to it.
No. Oh, that's what I used to do with this show. I didn't. I don't
or
think I ever
Didn't
listened.
listen.
What we could potentially do at the last 15 minutes, if we wanted to, is provide entertainment in the following fashion.
Interpretive dance.
No,
We
Oh,
make a
it's
story
radio.
by each person saying one word of it.
I couldn't figure out why the ball was getting bigger than it hit me.
What?
So
I don't get
bad
it.
jokes is
Yes,
what you want to do?
yes.
I don't get it.
Suck at
All
bad
right, this has
jokes.
been Nerdtastic.
I'm John Fennel.
No, I feel like we've been called out now. We have 13 more minutes to
No,
fill.
no, I
you
just
called
I didn't
yourself
know.
out.
I didn't
You
know
called
what
it.
the time was. I just meant that it went really fast today. Like it was super fun.
We should read comments from the Rockstar Games multiplayer event. Just read them in order.
Or
and
just
offend
read the
everybody.
conversation on
conversation that's happening up
Mixler
there.
to everybody.
Well, that wouldn't be as offensive as reading the Rockstar Games multiplayer
Oh, I like
event.
his, I like the people can tweet questions for Quiz Liz during the week.
Oh.
What's
yeah.
your-
And
What's
I
your
promise
Twitter
not
account?
I promise not to.
At
no, they're
Liz
saying
Heron.
tweet them.
Oh, tweet us at Nerdtastic.
At Dizzy
And
Miss
Josh
Lizzy.
LeBrat will
Yes,
collect them
I'm-
every week
Mine is
and
Disney
coalesce
Miss
them
Lizzy.
into
Coalesce.
appropriate
A quiz.
questions for Liz.
What does that mean?
Appropriate, yeah.
Appropriate.
I
Don't
mean,
be-
you
What
know,
are inappropriate
Hey,
questions?
we
don't
have
be
some
a
inappropriate
dickhole.
listeners out there. Trust me. Don't be a pickle. Is that what you just said?
No, I said dick hole.
What is that? What is that called?
A dick hole?
Scrotum hole?
That thing at the top?
Urethra. Urethra
A
fragrance.
scrotum hole? Do you have one? You need to go to a doctor.
If you have a
You
hole
said
in
that
your
like it was a normal thing. Like, oh yeah, like the scrotum hole that everybody has.
Everybody.
You don't have two of them?
You breathe out of it,
what?
right?
Am I the only one?
I'm just fascinated by where this podcast has gone.
All right, let's kill it.
No, we have
You're not.
12 minutes left to go.
I'm Josh LeBrat.
I'm Sean Fennel.
I'm Liz Heron.
I'm Sean Kearney.
Sweet berry wine.
I'm disappointed that we couldn't keep this going.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Wait, that's not how
No,
you end
we're not
a
doing
podcast.
How do we
No,
do it?
you end it by doing something incredibly awesome.
Like, hump day! Yeah!
Bye.
Nerdtastic. Nerdtastic.